Welcome back to Shantae and the Seven Sirens. We'll be progressing more with the plot this time instead of just kind of blindly running around, which you're off to do in these sorts of games. So we have our Seer Dance, which makes platforms appear.
Ooh, fancy.
It is interesting that they decided to have one particular power that does actually require you to pause and dance. Because when I saw, this was the first time I've seen the game in action, so when I saw that like your animal transformation power was just something that you zip straight into without the dance, it's like, okay, yeah, that keeps the pace up, but at the same time, the dance was always kind of an iconic part of Shantae, so it's nice that there's at least one power where you know, dance for a bit before you use it.
Yeah, so there's a couple of different powers that are done with the dance. You get one every chapter. And so a couple of them are like screen clearing nukes.
Oh.
So the dance is there to effectively keep you from just spamming it over and over.
That makes sense. It also seems to be tied specifically to powers that you don't necessarily need to keep up the pace with.
Yeah, if you're stopping to scan the room for items, it doesn't matter if you wait half a second.
That's a pretty good compromise. You know, the snappiness that comes with that comes with the Pirate's Curse play style, but also the transformations. But then you also have this other set of transformations that you do need to pause and dance for, and that's, you know, they're having their cake and eating it too for the most part.
It does in a way though. I feel still kind of diminish the overall effect of dancing that the series is known for. Because again, like you said before, like dancing was a key element of Shantae.
I mean, like they have this like beautiful, way too smooth animation of Shantae doing a belly dance for the load screen, but she doesn't really do it much in the game anymore.
She does, but that's also like, you know. In the original game, and up until I would think Risky's Revenge, you know, she had like all kinds of dances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and in this game, she only has the one.
Yeah.
Like,
in
belly
Risky's
shake.
Revenge, she had 3 different dance moves that she did, and the different dance move determined which thing you did. I mean, the dancing is an iconic part of the series, but in the first game, it was just way too. It was too involved for its own good.
Yes,
you had to like do
that I
specific,
agree.
Well,
like movements.
that was them trying to do maybe a little too much for the Game Boy's 2 buttons, but you know, games several times during the Game Boy's lifespan, games did indeed experiment with.
Well, I think an easy remedy for that though, if for now where dancing is as simple as just pressing a button, and just have her shovel between like 4 or 5 different animations.
Now this, on the other hand, is just a bit strange.
This took me by surprise. Again, there are a lot of things about Seven Sirens that reminded me of the original Shantae, and this was like the biggest one. Like mini.
Oh yeah, the original the original Game Boy game had mini games. God, that was an ambitious Game Boy game.
I love this. I love the totems in the background, which have the Foxy Grandma.
I didn't notice.
There's
that.
Squid Baron, a Heart Squid, and Barracuda Joe, I believe.
Yeah, Squid Baron, and Barracuda Joe, and the Heart Squid. I didn't think of Foxy Grandma.
They have at least one character from every game, I think. Well, except for the first one, but this whole sequence is a reference to the original game anyway.
Fuck this Heart Squid. Like, I know you can get this Heart Squid eventually. I think you have to like break all the masks without missing a shot.
Yes. It takes forever.
It takes forever.
It's a good thing to spend your money on when you have max money.
I suppose so. Yeah, I mean, like an hour in when you have nothing else to buy.
It's stuff like this is just fun, and I think that's important for a Shantae game. That sense of fun.
Yeah, it is I should state that even though like the game is effectively challenge free, I still really had fun playing this game, and I guess this just depends on your mindset and what kind of a gamer you are. I personally don't always, or even most of the time, really want an ultra challenging game. I mean, I like Kirby, so you know.
Well, I feel the slight difference is Metroidvanias naturally have a reverse difficulty curve,
where
just in how they're designed.
Things get easier as you go. Yeah, like at the beginning of Symphony of the Night, you're probably going to get your ass kicked by the first boss.
Yes,
halfway
but the thing
through,
is,
who cares?
Yeah, but the thing is, in this game in particular, even early on, there's no real threat.
I mean, honestly,
So
I would
prefer. I feel it needs to give a little bit, like raise it up a little bit.
Maybe a little.
I mean,
yeah.
honestly, I would prefer a Metroidvania to be dialed down because Metroidvanias I find are all about the power fantasy, where you just have so much crap and you destroy everything.
The thing is, the power fantasy comes from getting more items and progressing, so you get more and more
it's that
stuff.
Feeling of,
and if you don't have that to start with,
it's kind of a similar feeling in a weird way to the difficulty curve of a Resident Evil game, where at the beginning you feel trapped and limited, and then by the end you're just blowing zombies apart left and right.
It's the Mega Man difficulty problem is the thing, because I find that's one of the older games that goes back to that problem, because you know, theoretically, this thing also applies to games like Zelda or the original Metroid, but those games were just unfair and bad, so they don't really have that problem. But Mega Man, you know, Mega Man gets easier as you go. You know, you start the game and you have nothing, and so the first 8 stages get easier as you go with this weird difficulty curve.
I would say that falls more for X rather than Classic.
Well, I mean, it
depends on the game and how useful the weapons are.
Yeah, okay, that's true.
If you're playing Mega Man 2,
basically
even ignoring the outlier of the metal blades, most of the weapons in that game are really good, so you just get more and more tools as you go.
Whereas you play Mega Man 5 and you're like, why am I using any of this?
Yeah. What weapons?
Wait, you can change Mega Man's color. That's neat.
But it's not so much the difficulty is one thing though. There's just feeling I just couldn't shake off throughout this game that I couldn't help it. I was feeling I was playing a more shallow experience compared to Pirate's Curse, and this is not entirely fair. Half Genie Hero Ultimate Edition. And I say Ultimate specifically because Half Genie Hero had that problem where it was, where's the content?
It was
playing the game. Where's the rest?
It was the Risky's Revenge problem. Only it happened at a point in time where they could fix that.
Risky's Revenge literally was half of a game.
Yeah,
yes.
And Half Genie Hero, ironically, because of the title, had that problem too at first. So.
I'm playing the game and I'm waiting for it to like kick into full throttle, and it never does that for me.
Well,
like even as I'm getting more transformations, as I'm getting like all the other dances, like I'm all right. I'm going to this area. I'm getting more heart squids. I'm collecting more nuggets. I don't need money anymore, and I'm getting another siren and all that. But it's also like. I'm feeling the game should be picking up by now, but I feel it's not. I feel it's just kind of like coasting along. Well, I mean, which is fine for some people, because people like that in a game. They don't want it to be like overly intense. They rather just be a joyride, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's also not exactly what I'm looking for Shantae specifically.
I suppose.
I never really got that sense, because Shantae's always been. I mean, this is the easiest one, but this has always been a comfort food kind of game series for me anyway, where you're just kind of coast along
for the wrong reasons, I find. Well, not the first game. The first game was hard. The first game was hard. The second Risky Revenge is easy because there wasn't anything. It was only half a game. Pirate's Curse I think was okay.
So Pirate's Curse is a weird thing for me, because I did mention at the beginning of this game I thought this was better than Pirate's Curse, and the reason why, it's not even really because this is more of a traditional Metroidvania setup. It doesn't really matter if it's more of a traditional Metroidvania setup, if it's just the better game. Structure doesn't really matter if it's just the better one. The thing about it is that they both have a similar sense of flow, and they both have really fun parts. I just personally found that in order to feel like there's more of that challenge, or maybe just to add variety, I don't know, Pirate's Curse has a lot of sections that are just really annoying and deviate from the gameplay for no real reason other than to just be different. This is stuff like...
You're talking about the Run Roddy Tops and the stealth section of the Tan Line Temple?
Yeah, but specifically those two sections irritate the crap out of me. Every time I go back to replay Pirate's Curse, I'm having a great time until I reach that stupid temple,
energy,
and I stop playing.
Same energy.
I agree to some I agree to some extent as one that didn't really mind those sections that much. But I feel that this game needed something like that. Not to the extent of being that annoying, because I agree. Like, you know, the Roddy Top thing, everything kills you in one hit. The stealth section, you get caught, you go back to the beginning. Not to that annoying, but this game needed more variety in things that you did, because until you get to dungeons, everything is just kind of the same beat.
I mean,
like in every area.
I don't really see how that's different than any other Metroidvania, though, because it's just about wandering the overworld and, you know, looking for stuff, finding stuff, just fighting enemies.
While I agree with John that there maybe need to be a bit more to do, I do also side with Ted some on that.
Yeah.
This is functionally what Metroidvanias do.
I'm gonna side with Ted and Ryan mostly. The thing is,
coward.
No, I say mostly because the thing is, you can instill a feeling of variety without necessarily deviating from core gameplay, depending on how structure and pacing works.
Then I guess the thing in my case is that it doesn't do it well enough to mask that feeling.
Yeah.
Because I agree, like every Metroidvania is structured in a very similar fashion, where it's more about finding the means to get to the next area. What can you do to explore that area for now? Come back to it later when you have the means to fully explore it. Every Metroidvania to an extent is set up that way, but there are ways you can make it feel less meandering, less tiresome, less of a chore.
I'm thinking of Ritual of the Night, and looking back on it, it had a lot of moments that while I might not be able to recall those moments off the top of my head at any given time while I was playing
like the train sequence.
While I was playing it, it struck me. You know, it drew me in for the moment, and that.
Yeah, this game doesn't have many set pieces.
No, that's one way to put it.
Yeah. I don't think so. Like, this game doesn't have many set pieces.
I mean, I guess it just didn't bother me personally, because I just find that Shantae is just a dream to control and play. There aren't that many. Oh my god! When I found out that you could use the dance to get the gems off of those guys, it was like Is
there a correlation I'm missing out on that one? Because I found that out by accident.
They're gem guys. They have gems. So the dance pulls all the gems in the area to you. So you rip the gems off of those guys.
You know, that's a feature I completely forgot about.
Because
at this point, I already had I had both the attract stuff from the shop and the monster card that also acted as an attract. Why'd they make those two separate things for the record?
I don't know, but yes, one of the NPCs at one point does mention it. I found it completely by accident, because I think I was in a room with those guys, and I was trying to use the seer dance, and I was just completely ignoring them, and then they just turned into that, and I'm like, whoa, wait, what? But yeah, so for some reason, I find Shantae is just really fun to play in this game. Personally,
I mean, she's a dream to control. I mean, she controls about as well as she did in Half Genie Hero. No, she's definitely faster.
No, she moves
in this game
back and forth way faster.
Yeah, I would say it's about the same as Pirate's Curse.
Yeah, but
she was pretty speedy in that one too.
I like the powers better in this game than in Pirate's Curse, because Pirate's Curse, I mean, granted, yes, there is something like
you can do this, by the way.
Oh. You must have some sort of genie.
Yeah. So in Pirate's Curse, there definitely is like a very down-to-earth quality of, like, you just get a gun, or you can float with the hat.
I think Pirate.
You got there, Shantae.
I don't think Pirate's Curse was completely devoid of charm in that sense, because of the way Shantae used the particular tools she found really fit her character. I should say.
Yeah, because when you get the hat, you use it to fly, and when you get the sword, you start running with it and stuff like that.
You double jump by firing the cannon downward. That kind of thing.
So that's true, but I like the powers in this game, because I feel like they're faster and have a little bit more crunch, I guess, if that makes sense. Like, for example, you have an ability here that just lets you dash forward and go faster, which is always just a really fun ability in any kind of game like this, that just makes the movement faster and more fun. The tortoise spin, which we'll get in this dungeon, amazing, and I love it. I found
the
it.
tortoise spin is later.
Metroidvania.
Oh, we get the drill. Yeah,
I find that
I like the drill.
I find that Metroidvania games live and die based on how the mobility feels. So
Yes.
it does look to me, just watching it, that Seven Sirens nails that aspect.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, the game is a dream to control. Like Shantae controls really well in this game.
yeah. And I also liked the sort of mini game aspects of the drill and the frog that we get later. I mean, they're not the deepest aspects of the game.
They needed to be. I think they needed a degree more of something to make them separate because they're pretty much the same ability.
Yeah, they are. One's for sand,
and one's for water.
Yeah, maybe something to make them like more combat focused. Maybe, I'm not sure. I'm not a game designer. But, I liked the little things that they did do with them, like the Pac-Man stuff that we'll see with the Pac Frog and whatever later on. I thought was cute. So, but mostly the Newt Dash and the Tortoise are just so much. Oh, and when you get the triple jump back too, that's also just really fun. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, you just can't beat the practicality of a triple jump.
No.
It doesn't need to be the most complicated power in the world to be really good. I agree with the tortoise spin. I like the tortoise spin to a degree. I just don't like how you bounce off walls with it.
Oh, no, I love that part of it.
I think
they had to make it.
I think, yeah.
I think that they would just wanted to. In my eyes, I think it's just a way for them to keep it balanced. Because if you didn't bounce off walls on it, then there's no reason ever to not use a tortoise spin.
Yeah, so it's a way to nerf the speed booster a little bit, so you're not constantly just using it.
Tortoising all over the place.
Well, first off, I like the tortoise because you have a much better degree of control over it, over the scimitar in Pirate's Curse, where you just have to run forward. I've never really liked that aspect of speed boosters like in Metroid, where you just have to. It happens automatically, and you have to set yourself up.
You see, I was gonna disagree, but then I remember I'm always using the speed boost exploit in Pirate's Curse because I don't like running in a straight line to activate it.
There's an exploit for that?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you are holding down the analog stick and you're using, because Pirate's Curse, you can use the analog stick and the D-pad for movement. If you're holding down the analog stick in one direction and you're tapping the opposite direction on the D-pad, Shantae will still build up speed for the speed boost, and you can pretty much activate it from a standstill.
Is Risky Boots literally just fighting you for the hell of it right now?
There is a reason,
sort of.
but
functional gameplay-wise, she's just a mini boss.
Yeah, which this is why I feel like she's probably. I feel like there's a decent chance for risky mode because they already do have her animations all programmed in. So I feel like, especially if they reuse a lot of the programming from Half-Genie Heroes risky mode, it wouldn't be that hard, and I'd pay $10 for it. So please do it. Way forward. Thank you. I love you.
I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah. Again, I was just talking about how much I prefer using Shantae's transformations to the pirate stuff, but also please give me the pirate stuff because I'm a massive fucking
Okay, so the next game is Shantae and Risky team up again. Shantae, Risky, Shantae, Risky, Shantae, Risky.
Bolo.
Shantae and the pirate that cursed.
Shantae and the 7 half-genie pirate.
Well, that could actually be really fun. And Shantae already has 2 very fun playstyles. So combining the 2 could lead to interesting results.
I'm just really greedy about games like these, where there are playable characters, multiple of them. I just want to play as all of them,
Well,
don't tell me.
Getting greedy with the amount of the ideas of different playable characters. I had this game out of all the other Shantae games made me itchy with anticipation of what the potential of what certain ideas could do, specifically with the new fusion dances and the whole concept of fusion magic in general. Because I'm jumping ahead here, but one of the things that I really was kind of hoping to be the case maybe in a future game, where how Shantae does these dances and she becomes that seer, she becomes that plant lady or the eel for these things. I kind of wish there were just forms you could just transform into that had enhanced mobility in different areas.
Or what if part of the dancing would be kind of a copycat thing where she takes abilities from not just Risky, but Sky and Bolo from their modes and Half Genie Hero.
So you pretty much Mega Man it.
Yeah,
So-
basically.
In a way.
I think that would be a good idea because the idea for the dancing in the original Shantae was that, I mean, granted, it was a slower process, but you were intended to be in that mode for a longer time. You weren't supposed to switch in and out as quickly as what people eventually ended up doing. Because especially if you look at stuff like the Harpy or whatever in the original Shantae, you generally have to be in that mode for an extended period of time in order to do what you need to do or reach where you're supposed to go. So I feel like what they were trying to do was, okay, you do this little dance and now you are playing as the elephant or the
But people kept
monkey.
switching like out the moment they did one thing and then switching back
Yeah.
in. So it didn't
pretty much.
They were going for a different flow than the game actually achieved.
But if you were to do what you guys are talking about, where it's just like, okay, I dance, I pick Bolo mode, and I am Bolo for a while, I think that could be really cool.
And honestly, this whole idea stems from the fact of the form that Shantae takes from the Quake dance.
Oh, dude.
like once I saw that image, I was like, what the fuck? Like, why can't I play as that?
Dude. Like, Archangel with burning hair and
fire wings and
wings
a large
is-
fucking hammer.
That is absolutely my aesthetic, and I want it in my life. So
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's like it's pretty much the idea is pretty much no different than the animal transformations in Half Genie Hero and Risky's Revenge in the original game, but you just become a different form of Shantae. That as I mentioned in the review, like the Quake Lady, she has fire wings. Maybe you can use that as a triple jump or a flank. She has like
kind of
large
sounds
hammer.
a little like you could implement some sort of Kingdom Hearts 2-esque drive system or something.
Yeah, exactly like the drive system in Kingdom Hearts 2.
it's honestly not even all that different.
And then
from-
if you overuse it, she becomes Nega Shantae. Like, this is brilliant.
so
like,
who would
honestly, they should be paying
Shantae's
us.
nobody be?
Holly.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that doesn't have an X in it.
Holly X.
Zolly. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's not really all that different from what they ended up doing with the Friends mode. Where you switch between 3 playable characters.
Yeah, and
that
just added as part of the dancing moveset that Shantae has.
it would allow for more options if you open up the dance and then you get a menu that lets you choose between. I assume that they'd have 5, different forms if they were going for this kind of thing. Way forward, hire us. We will.
I mean, you say that sarcastically, but at the same time, I think our ideas are pretty good here.
But ideas are also worthless without proper execution, and I don't think any of us know how to code a video.
And then there could be a talent. There could be a talent scout just watching BrainScratch just takes all the ideas without giving us one proper credit.
I mean, if the game turns out good, I don't really care that much.
I care. Original character, do not steal.
Ted, that never worked for the Sonic fandom. It won't work for here.
Nope, it will absolutely not.
Way forward. Tune in for the next part of Shantae on BrainScratch.
Do it, cowards.